I am back. Rodrance for Black and White Network. Well, don't worry, I didn't forget about the channel. Oh, Trump is being indicted today. I'm watching it on my screen. Funny side note to this. Well, not funny, but funny as in disturbing kind of funny. Like, you know, afraid of clowns and that kind of disturbing. Funny, ha-ha. Brett Hume was just on Fox News just a few minutes ago, and he said that CNN conducted a poll, and 60% of, I guess, radical leftists that are watching, the few fraction of people that are still watching CNN are total and complete lunatics, because 60% of them said they were happy that Trump was essentially getting indicted, even though they didn't know that whether he should be indicted or not. They just wanted to see the man indicted. And that's sort of the problem we've got right now. There's a lot of those kind of people on Twitter that are advocating for our President Trump to be locked up, and they don't care whether he's actually committed a crime or not. Which is scary, because that is some true, you know, Venezuela, Banana Republic. That's the kind of country that would do something like this and actually have a faction of supporters that would be just fine with it. Just nothing to see here. Please move along. We don't care as long as this guy is locked up, which that makes me still wonder, what exactly has Trump done that caused so much vitriol? I don't get it. I still have yet to see, what has he done? You know, we remember the propagandist nature of the Charlottesville video, right? Where he was branded this big racist and he was celebrating white supremacists, and then the entire video came out, and you're like, oh, well, guess what? We've been telling these leftists that he wasn't racist. And yet here we are. The full video comes out, full context. He wasn't racist at all. But nobody ever backed off of that. The left-stream media certainly didn't back off of that, right? But it's just that kind of rhetoric. These people want Trump locked up, even if they think he didn't commit a crime. And that's really frightening. That's really frightening as to where we are as a country right now. Now, I've got a couple of different stories, because I got two different polls here. Because one thing that we've seen happen, number one, since all this emerged, Trump's campaign funds have skyrocketed from supporters, right? It's clear. Look, Ron DeSantis, you're not involved in this anymore from a 2024 standpoint. All right, you're not a contender here. Now, it's his full right to still run, and I've said, look, if Ron DeSantis wanted to do, you know, the best justice he could do for himself for 2028 would be, hey, come out, publicly say, I'm not running, and then fully endorse Trump and literally hit the campaign trail with Trump. Even if you're not going to be vice president, we know how this works. I don't care about the war of words between the two guys, because, you know, Trump has had words with everybody out there, many of whom he hangs out with and still talks to and actually really likes. Okay, so there's a part of me that believes, both from Ron DeSantis and Trump, this is just political gamesmanship between these two. Nobody gives a rip right now. People are going to talk shit to each other when they think they're potential political opponents. That's the way it is. But DeSantis is hurting himself with potential voters. Before we get to that, let's take a look at this, because, and all three of these articles are from Breitbart, but we got demonstrators here. Trump lies all the time banner. Yeah, in Manhattan. And look, there's a large faction of pro-Trump supporters up there, large faction of anti-Trump supporters, and they're clashing right now. And look, if you're a Trump supporter up there, if you're going to be up there, guys, remember, we're not them. You know, don't break the law. We've always hung our hats on the fact that we are not these radical leftists. We are not criminals. You know, make sure you stay within the confines of the law, because the fact is CNN and MSNBC and the AP and anybody else that is left-stream media, they will use your actions against President Trump. I hope you realize that, right? So that's something to think about here, right? Large banner that reads "Trump lies all the time" was at the center of a clash Tuesday that broke out between demonstrators who gathered in Manhattan in anticipation of former President Donald Trump's arraignment. A video posted to Twitter showing demonstrators holding a banner that had been stretched out over the ground bearing the inflammatory message. Suddenly, a woman who appeared to be wearing a red MAGA hat began walking on the banner before stopping in the center and grabbing the fabric and pulling it upwards as she yelled, "Hey!" The events unfolded here. Well, I'll show you this video in just a sec. Look, the other thing I'm going to be completely aware of, I think everybody should be aware of, is the fact that, do we trust that a lot of these supposed supporters of Trump up there, and I'm sure there's absolutely real Trump supporters up there, I have no doubts, but in much the same way as J6, we should be aware that Antifa is going to infiltrate this situation. I'm just saying, we really don't believe that leftists would not pose as Trump supporters just to make Trump supporters look bad, because of course they would. And I believe in large part that happened during J6. This is the video. There's the Trump supporter, supposedly. Right here. What are we doing, lady?
You're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side.
You're on the wrong side.
You're on the wrong side. You're from New York. You're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side. I have COVID. I don't care. I really do have COVID. Good for you. You're on the wrong side. 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 I'm with you. Get out of here, you old bag of bones. Burn this flag, bitch. Tear it up. Tear this shit up. Tear this shit up. Get off of it.
Did I catch a "get out of here, you old bag of bones"?
Bitch, you keep on the wrong side, bitch. I'm not
Oh,
Jewish,
shit.
bitch. I'm from New
That's
York.
good.
What's good? What's good? What's good?
Wow. Oh, okay. F-bomb.
Exactly.
But look, you get my point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 cameras. Oh, there's a 10th one down here, an 11th one here. We got 11, 12, 13, 14. Now you're getting my point that I was just referring to. There's 14 cameras there ready to capture anything that a Trump supporter might do that can be used against Donald J. Trump later. All right, because look, the media already tried to spin the whole show up and protest, right? They did that right away. As soon as he said that, there were people going on left-stream media outlets, and they were saying, here he goes again. Incitement of violence. Right? Oh, we've got J6. They started J6ing on us again. So, yeah, unfortunately, there has to be some discretion used here, right? There has to be discretion used, because they will use everything against Trump that they possibly can get their hands on. Seeing 2 of the demonstrators who have been holding the banner coming towards her, the woman in the MAGA hat began to flee before tripping on fabric and falling to the ground. One of the demonstrators who had been previously holding the banner stood over her, and the woman in the MAGA hat said, "Sorry, sorry." The woman stood and began pulling on the banner again, appearing the demonstrator who had been standing over her to trip and fall. Little dyslexia there for everybody. Sorry about that. My words tend to jump around a little bit. Quote, "You're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side," she began telling the apparently anti-Trump demonstrators as she walked towards her. The woman in the MAGA hat then said, quote, "I have COVID." I mean, I can't blame her for pulling that card because, to leftists, that ought to be repellent, right? Oh my God, not COVID. Shit. Hell, we're out. When a demonstrator seemingly attempted to block her, quote, "I don't care," the other woman said. At that point, a man wearing a New York City Police Department Community Affairs shirt began to intervene as the woman and yet another demonstrator from the other side accused one of being on, quote, "the wrong side." The woman in the MAGA hat once again grabbed the banner and yelled, "Tear the shit up," repeatedly. She can be heard telling one of the demonstrators, "BITCH, you came to the wrong side, BITCH." By this point, a gaggle of reporters and camera operators had swarmed around the woman opposing demonstrators. This comes as Trump is expected to be arraigned. I believe he is in court at this exact second. So, anyway, I wanted to cover some of that from the actual scene of the situation. Now, I've got a couple of different polls here because Trump's exploded. He has exploded. Ron DeSantis, this is not going to work out for you for 2024, okay? And look, guys, I still like Ron DeSantis. I do. And like I said, I do believe there's some political gamesmanship going on here. He's feuding with Disney again. He's about to drop the hammer on Disney again, and because Bob Iger's running his mouth. But I know he issued this statement about Alvin Bragg and George Soros and all that, and that's fine and that's great and that's dandy. But I really would like to see I'm backing out of this. He hasn't, by the way, he hasn't declared that he's running. But we think he is, and we've heard that behind the scenes around the grapevine that he has serious interest in running. Now is the time for him to pull back. Okay? Because, he is being lumped in with some politicians that I don't think he necessarily shares ideals with. And I think he needs to be careful with that, right? The Bushes come to mind, so that's something I think Ron DeSantis should seriously think. He's hurting himself badly. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is polling under 20% in a hypothetical 2024 Republican primary field after former President Donald Trump received a surge in the polls when New York grand jury voted to indict him last week. The latest Reuters survey found the Trump support at 48%, up from 44% he received in last month's poll. On the other hand, DeSantis' support dwindled from 30% in March to 19% after Trump's indictment. Reuters surveyed 706 U.S. adults from March 31 to April 3rd, just days after New York grand jury voted to indict the former president. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's case against Trump focuses on his alleged role in paying porn star Stormy Daniels $130,000 in hush money. That's not what I just heard a minute ago. The only thing I'm hearing right now is something to do with, I hate to even say the words election on YouTube at this point, but I have not heard Stormy Daniels really being brought up. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, if there's any details that come out on actually what this shit show's about, then, you'll hear it here. Trump will appear before the Manhattan courthouse on Tuesday for his arraignment. He is there right now. Although DeSantis has not yet announced a presidential campaign, he is consistently polled second behind Trump. Majority of respondents believe the charges against Trump are politically motivated. Absolutely. Let's get to the other poll, because there's yet another poll. This is the Morning Consult survey. The survey, updated Monday, the day Trump departed from Mar-a-Lago to New York, found the former president's lead expanding over his potential challengers. According to the survey, Trump continues to garner majority support, as 55% of Republicans support him in a hypothetical 2024 presidential primary. That is 3 points higher than the 52% support he saw 1 week ago on March 27th. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis now falls 29 points behind with 26% support, in the same percentage he saw last week. Former Vice President Mike Pence comes in third with 7% support, down from 8% he saw last week. Former U.S. Ambassador to UN Nikki Haley followed with 4% support, down from 5%. Who the hell is giving 2% to Liz Cheney? I mean, that's my thing. I mean, who would give more support to Liz Cheney than Tim Scott, Kristi Noem, Greg Abbott, Mike Pompeo? I mean, that's flooring to me. The key takeaway from the Morning Consult notes that Trump's support has only strengthened since the indictment. So he's up 3 percentage points from last Wednesday, the day before the news that the Manhattan grand jury voted to indict him on fraud charges over his alleged role in paying hush money to adult film star Stormy Daniels. It gives him a 29 percentage point lead over his closest polling potential rival, Florida Ron DeSantis, marking second best advantage since December. And DeSantis has been sort of, the moral to the story is DeSantis has been running in a clear-cut second for this entire time, pretty much. He got somewhat close, maybe last, I don't know, mid last year at the height of his punching Disney right in the face and all that. He was getting a lot of publicity for that. The anti-woke act was dropping. He was launching that war on the DEI situation that's going on in schools and with work and all these other things. And yeah, it's great policies. It is. But he's not gonna win a primary against Trump at this point. I can't see any way. I think the biggest and most troubling thing I've seen that's come out today is the fact that maybe this isn't about Stormy Daniels. I did see that, or I did hear that. Like, people kept asking, is this about Stormy Daniels? And the answer was, as of right now, they can't tell that that's what it's about. It's something about documents and the election. I don't know what that means or what that is as of yet, because there's not enough details that have come out. But you got to be an idiot if you don't think this isn't politically motivated for the sole purpose of keeping Trump from running against whatever radical leftist ends up stepping up to the plate. I still believe it won't be Biden. I don't think it'll be Biden. I think it will be California Governor Gavin Newsom. Okay? And, among that bunch, he is wildly popular. I mean, that's frightening. I mean, California is a dumpster fire rolling downhill on a tire fire. And nobody has seen a mass exodus in the way that we have watched that transpire in California. Right? Ironically enough, a lot of them went to Florida. Florida was open. A lot of California's problems is, like most Democratic layers, it's going to be, crime. It's going to be COVID policies. It's going to be transgender and LGBTQ alphabet mafia rhetoric and, the straight people and the war on Christians and all that. It's in full effect in these Democratic states. And that could be running for president, that guy out there that's leading that charge. So Trump will blow his doors off. So would Ron DeSantis. I mean, They had already started feuding on video back and forth because I think they got the notion this was before Trump, I think, even actually come out and said he was running. They were making dueling videos back and forth to each other. I don't know. Guys, if this is the first time checking out the channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out the audio on podcast, Spotify, Apple Pod, Google Pod, CastBox, Breaker. You name it, wherever good podcasts are available, all the audio from all of our channels is available. Check out blackandwhitenetwork.com. Go to the merch site, buy you a shirt. Yeah, I need to sit down and create a new shirt or 2 or 3. Put up something fresh on the website soon. So, tell me what you think in the comments section below. Kind of like this long format that John's got this long format where now we just sit down and we talk about multiple things and we just have ourselves a good long conversation with the audience. I sort of appreciate that. I do. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.